Live from the local station, this is Weather Authority Weekday.
Good morning. Welcome to the Weather Authority Weekday Show, starting now at 11 a.m. I am meteorologist Michelle McCormick. It is so great to be with you. We have a full, just about 30-minute show here with some really amazing things. So I'm going to give you a full look at your forecast. We're going to talk about rain. Yeah, rain coming to our forecast here over the next several days. Hopefully not ruining your weekend too much on Sunday. I know, big football game coming to town. The Colts are here. But also, the second half of our show is going to be really interesting. It's a recap of the 2025 hurricane season with our friend Angie and Yeti from the National Weather Service right here in Jacksonville. And we really do break down the intensity of the storms, the number of storms that we had, and why the storms stayed away from the U.S. and the Eastern Seaboard this year. So really interesting. You're definitely going to want to stick around for the second half of the show. So let's get right to your current forecast and what you can expect in the next several days. Here's a look at our current radar. And up to our west and north, just a little bit, some rain. Yeah, we've had some rain this week. Finally, we made it through the entire month of November without a raindrop for the most part. So we are really looking forward to the rain. It is a little bit inconvenient. It makes our driving a little more treacherous, our rush hours a little more dangerous, but it also is helping our estuaries and our water reserves and our drought. And these are things that we really need. We're deficit almost 10 inches for the year. And even though we had a very wet beginning to the summer, to the end of the summer, beginning of fall, we've totally tapered off. So seeing this rain on the radar is a good indication of what's to come, and it's all associated with some frontal systems. So here's a look outside right now at the Morningstar Marina. Beautiful day, albeit a bit cold. Now, when you go outside, you're like, oh, it's so pretty out. And then, oh, gust of wind, burr. So just make sure you always have a jacket with you, and the kiddos are going to want a jacket this afternoon, perhaps when they come home from school. It's that wind that feels a little bit of a bite out there. Moving in from the northeast at 3 miles per hour, it's already 62 degrees. We're not going to get much warmer than that today. So looking out at the beach, where are all the people? Caitlin, where are all the people? Caitlin's our producer, and we're like, we're taking a, oh, I see a person.
Yeah, they're walking.
There's a walking person. It's a little bit chilly out there with that northeasterly wind, right? And again, 62 degrees out here at the beach. So it looks pretty outside, but again, it's a little bit on the cool side. So Jacksonville International Airport last week, super busy with Thanksgiving, now ramping up for the other holiday series. But it's now also 62 degrees at the Jacksonville International Airport. So temperatures across our area, upper 50s, low 50s out to the west there, 52 degrees in Lake City, 47 in Homerville, 50 in Waycross. So yeah, feeling pretty chilly out there. And looking thin, you can see the division line between where it's cold and where it's a little bit on the warm side, where it's 70 degrees inland Palm Coast, 65 in Putnam County this morning. The difference a day makes, okay? So we have a cold front that's coming through, and this is the difference. So it's 3 degrees cooler right now in Waycross than it was this time yesterday. It's 5 degrees warmer in Palatka than it was this time yesterday. So yeah, our temperatures, it's that we're all over the place, right? All right, this is the future cast, and this is what we're taking a look at. So today we're not really expecting much rain, but Friday is gonna really start a new pattern, and it's this cold front right here. I'm gonna show you two different models because this is the GFS. And it can be a little bit more aggressive at times. So I wanted to show you this one. This one's for Friday at 3 o'clock. And then as we move into Saturday morning, that rain stays north of Waycross, north of our southeast Georgia counties into the morning hours. As that frontal system moves out, we have a lift from the Gulf, bringing in way more moisture. And this is Sunday morning at 10:45. What are most people doing at 10:45 on Sunday morning? Caitlin? Church. And tailgating.
They're just getting out of
church and they're going to be tailgating. So thank you. You are correct. So I don't expect the Jaguar game to be a complete washout, but we can't rule out rain Sunday morning. And then moving on out of here, leaving behind much necessary rain. Now, keep in mind that was just one of our many graphics that show you model details, and this model goes all the way into the beginning and middle of next week through next Thursday, full 7 days. Now, this future track is our Barron 3K, and the cloud and radar forecast. And this looks very much like what I just showed you on our radar, where we have the rain to the west and to the north of our area right now, and then trickling in. Now, as I go through the next several hours, this one only goes out about 48 hours. You'll see rain staying to the north of Waycross, but then coming through overnight into tomorrow. This is the overnight hour. So you might hear some rain overnight into tomorrow. And then Friday by 8:45 in the morning, right now, the rain staying well north of I-10 in southeast Georgia. And then that's going to start to trickle down into northeast Florida through Friday night into Saturday and then into Sunday. And it's that line right there that could be our rainmaker over the next 48 hours. And then as we move into Saturday morning, we still will see some light showers through Saturday. Here we go, 1 o'clock, a little bit more opportunity for widespread rain. And then we move into Saturday evening, into Sunday. This is Saturday night. More opportunity for rain, widespread. We do need the rain. We're expecting this system over the next several days to bring up to maybe 2 inches of rain in spots. And this is a look at that drought monitor. And this is why we need the rain. That's the extreme drought continues to linger through Ware County, Charlton County, Brantley County, in through Baker and Columbia counties and portions of Union County. So we need the rain. And again, on a weekend, not ideal, but over the next 5 days, some spots like in southeast Georgia where we are seeing those. Remember where I just showed you? Look, let's go back. See, look at the word Waycross on your screen. And you will see this is in a very red area of the drought monitor. Now I'm going to show you the rainfall forecast over the next 5 days. Waycross, look again, 2.5 inches likely over the next 5 days. So that will help this drought tremendously. It'll help fire dangers tremendously. It'll help us going into the end of 2025 and beginning of 2026 when this is a normally dry time of year. This is good news. So Brunswick at 2 inches, St. Mary's at 2 inches, and then into northeast Florida, we're only looking at maybe 1.5 inches, 1.25 inches in Jacksonville, north of I-10. Area south of I-10, 3/4 of an inch to 1 inch of rain. Much needed rain over the next several days. All right, 7 p.m. collecting new toys for our toy drive. Right up front, you get to meet all of us. Will be out there and collecting toys. So drive on by. We're at 4 Broadcast Place downtown in San Marcos. So there you go. Temperature today, we're looking for a high of 67 degrees at the airport, and then southeast Georgia, not quite warming up as that cold front continues to drop on in. 59 for Homerville, 61 in Waycross, so where we're seeing upper 40s, low 50s right now, moving into that upper 60, low 60 range. So then out west, Keystone Heights at 72, Gainesville at 73, and even Palatka at 74, where we're already at 70 degrees. The winds continue to make it feel just a little bit cooler, especially in the shade. All right, full cold moon is tonight at 6:14 rather. So sunset rather, is around 5:30, 5:25, and then you're going to see this beautiful, gorgeous full moon behind the clouds. So it's going to be a little bit on the cloudy side, but it will be still very bright. We love to see your full moon pictures. If you're able to capture some really nice full moon pictures, send them in. You just have to be an insider. Go to news4jax.com, sign up for Insider, and send us your SnapJax photo, and we'll put your full moon picture on. And it's going to be a doozy tonight, and it's going to look kind of blue. That's the full cold moon. All right, looking ahead to the Jaguar game on Sunday. All right, the Colts are in town. The game's at 1 o'clock at Everbank, and scattered showers are possible. So the tailgate could be a little bit on the cool side, a little bit on the wet side. So be prepared for that. Bring your tent for your tailgate. Make sure you have your ponchos in your clear bags. You cannot bring umbrellas into the stadium, but you can have them out in the parking lot. So just remember, you can always check ahead online with what you can bring into the stadium, what you can't bring in. You cannot bring in an umbrella. So put on your best looking Jaguar poncho and come on inside. All right, for tonight, temperatures will drop down into the upper 40s, low 50s. We could even see some inland fog developing with all the moisture in the air. As the cold air settles in, it drops it down to the ground. So just keep that in mind. Some patchy fog is possible. And then tomorrow, high temperatures on the warm side in northeast Florida, cool side in southeast Georgia. That's behind the front. The warmer temperatures are in front of the front. So that just seems awfully warm for tomorrow, but always ahead of a cold front, we warm up. So we'll be below normal as far as our temperatures today. Normal's about 69 right now. Tomorrow above normal, and then look what happens on Saturday. With all that rain, our temperature has a hard time warming up. Sunday, clearing, temperature is still on the cool side behind that cold front. And then Monday, really chilly. Tuesday, woo, look at that low, 39 degrees, brr. 38 on Wednesday morning, even double burr. So we have some cold mornings coming up by midweek next week. And you know what? It is beginning to feel like the holidays. So can't complain too much about these cool temperatures. All right, folks, thanks for tuning in for your local and expanded forecast. Now, we're going to take a super quick break, but when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about the 2025 hurricane season, some new records for this year, 3 Category 5 storms. We're going to talk about that, and I want you to be able to tune in. So stick around. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Weather Authority Weekday. I am meteorologist Michelle McCormick. Welcome to our new time slot, too. We started at 11 o'clock, and this is going to be an everyday Monday through Friday. You're going to see all of us on the weather team bringing you all the in-depth details about weather, both locally and nationally. So we're really excited to have this opportunity to share some great weather stories with you, like this one. I had the opportunity earlier to speak with Angie Agnetti. She's with the National Weather Service right here in Jacksonville. She really went into depth about the 2025 hurricane season and why this year was 1 out of 10, like the past 10 years, that we haven't had a U.S. landfall, and the strength of the storm's intensity. Tune in. Watch this.
The National Weather Service in Jacksonville covers way more than our viewing area, but we love to include those areas such as Marion County, all the way up into the northern part of Southeast Georgia. Angie, it's been a really crazy 2025. I mean, given that hurricane season started June 1st, let's just touch on that first. Let's just get the hurricane season stuff out of the way first. And it ended on November 30th. Not one U.S. landfall this year, 10 years. What are you guys thinking about that?
Well, and we are counting our blessings for that. So yes, it has been 10 years. 2015 was the last year we didn't have any U.S. hurricane landfalls, and that's what we had this year in 2025, and we are thankful for that. In terms of the hurricane season, what was really weather-wise our saving grace for keeping these deeper hurricanes offshore, away from the East Coast, away from the Gulf Coast, was what we call a mean layer trough. So this upper level pattern established across the eastern part of the United States, where the steering currents were such that they were more strong in west, from west to east, and that trough helped keep those stronger storms like Melissa, like Imelda, offshore of the U.S. Atlantic coast. So we were very grateful for that. So that East Coast trough was really our savior this past hurricane season.
Yeah, it was cool to watch how they developed, always in the same place, very similar to 2024, that lower part of the Atlantic, and then made that crazy right turn. And you could see, I mean, it was like steering pattern after steering pattern after steering pattern, one right after the other, just continuously turning those storms away from the eastern seaboard. And then nothing in the Gulf.
Yes, very quiet in the Gulf. Absolutely. Again, we will take it. Now, a lot of folks still think that, we had an above normal season forecast, but it didn't pan out. But when we actually go and look at the numbers from the NOAA outlooks that they provided in May, and then we update in August, we actually did fall within those forecasted values. So in terms of official numbers from this past hurricane season, we had 13 named storms. Those would be tropical storms and hurricanes, 5 hurricanes, and then 4 major hurricanes. And so those values, that 13, that 5, and that 4, did still fall within the forecasted range. They were on the lower end, though, of the ranges that NOAA forecasted. And thankfully, many of those remained offshore. They were fish storms, if you will, which, we think on land, oh, that's not a significant impact to us. However, it does cause a lot of impacts to our shipping partners and shipping companies. So there were certainly impacts to a certain population.
Well, and people don't think about that. I think exactly what you just said. I mean, these storms are affecting people, regardless of whether they're land storms. They're affecting the ocean. They're churning it up, if you will, and they're keeping travel across that ocean, in danger. So, with Hurricane Melissa being the final storm of the 2025 season, Category 5, registered wind gust of 252 miles per hour. What do you think? What do you think in there?
When we look at the recent record of these more powerful storms, we are certainly seeing more notable powerful storms, these major hurricanes with some of the recorded values on the upper end, like Melissa. When we talk about impacts from Melissa, especially Imelda too, was kind of a similar track where it drifted northward from the Caribbean area, Melissa from the Atlantic, and then took that strong recurvature. As you said earlier, we still see impacts from these systems, even though we don't see those winds, thank goodness, not that 250-mile-an-hour plus winds from Melissa, but that turns up a lot of ocean waves, right? And those ocean waves impact coastal areas. In fact, portions of the Outer Banks had significant damage from these storms this past year because of that turbulent ocean.
Yeah, and the rip current risks are real. And
Right.
and I think going into the beginning of the season, Angie, you and I talked about how this year there was going to be a bigger focus on rip current risks and the dangers to people who think it's just safe to go out in these churning up waters. And I think this year, a really good measure that we continuously were reporting on were those rip current risks and the high rip current risk, because when there's a big storm in the Atlantic, that water still is being displaced. It still has to go somewhere, and it's going to stop at the land.
Correct. Yes. Going back this past season, something new that the Hurricane Center provided was messaging kind of front and center on their weather page, on their forecast page, a rip current threat map with tropical systems. So the rip current risk has been provided by local weather service offices for many, many years. But knowing that these tropical systems, even if they're far offshore, can really enhance that rip current risk and that threat and bring high impacts, the Hurricane Center has now decided to make that rip current risk one of their front and center products with tropical systems. And so at one point, I think it was with Melissa, almost the entire Atlantic seaboard was highlighted under a high rip current risk because Melissa was such a powerful storm. Imelda brought a similar painting of that high rip current risk along the eastern seaboard as well. So yes, even though these storms are far and distant, we still see impacts to our beaches, to our marine zones, and certainly from that rip current risk as well.
Yeah, that was super helpful. And it helps us tell the story as well. And it makes it very clear to visitors who are coming to our region that this is not a safe time to be in the water. And the locals seem to really understand that. And the surfers, of course, you're never going to tell them. But I think it's impactful for the visitors to our area for sure, to be able to explain that in detail to them. Another thing I wanted to touch on, Angie, with the hurricane season was Hurricane Erin. This hurricane intensified within like 24 hours from a tropical storm to a Cat 5. What do you think that system, how is it different?
Well, for all the systems, it's kind of like the alignment of all the ingredients came into place to make Erin a major, to make the other systems majors, Imelda and Melissa. So, when it comes to tropical cyclone intensity, we look for a lot of moisture. We look for weak steering currents in the atmosphere over an environment where one of these tropical systems go. And we also look at the depth of warm ocean water. And in the case of Erin, that Caribbean was warm and juicy, and there was a lot available heat content in the water. Kind of think of the ocean water as like the gasoline for these types of tropical systems. The higher the heat content of the ocean, the higher the octane fuel, if you will. So the ingredients aligned, the low wind shear, the weak steering currents, the warm ocean water, to really exacerbate Erin to be the beast that she was.
Yeah, that was fast too. I think I was working that morning and it was like tropical storm Erin, category 5 Erin. I mean, it was like boom, boom, boom. Every update was something more intense. So, all right. I think the hurricane season, I think we're all glad it's behind us. One thing that I know we do like to continuously remind people is that don't be complacent, continue to plan, always just be aware, be weather aware of these storms, because it only takes one. And what we saw happen through Jamaica and Haiti and Cuba, could easily happen here as well.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that, Michelle, because I think a lot of us that have been here for an extended period of time, and we again are very grateful that 2025 was relatively quiet for us locally in terms of tropical cyclones. But yes, we are a prone, vulnerable area of the U.S., and it's important to monitor official sources for forecast information. And I still will emphasize the social meteorologist caution. When we have systems out there, a lot of folks who are not meteorologists become meteorologists and can post some content on media feeds and on channels and whatnot that can be dangerously misleading. So I think, just a couple things to reiterate there: to choose your forecast sources wisely and to stay updated with forecast information. One of our concerns that we always have, and we can take some of these curvers this past season, like Imelda and Melissa, for example, is that somebody might see a forecast several days out and say, oh, it looks like the system's going to recurve. And that's what they go off of. They just base all of their decisions on what they saw days away. That's anchoring. We certainly want folks to stay abreast during tropical season because forecasts change, the atmosphere changes. So we really want to caution with that anchoring bias that can happen. Stay tuned to forecast information because it will change. And we, the Weather Service, with you and your team, always encourage folks to stay tuned, dial back in so we can see how that forecast is evolving for that particular storm to help maintain appropriate situational awareness.
Yeah, and I think you hit on it so well. Is I wish there was like an expiration button on stuff, because it just like gets old really fast. I mean, 2 hours later, or the next update or the next advisory, it's outdated, but it's still out there in the ether of the internet and of social media. I just went like, no, look at the timestamp on this. This is like 12 hours ago. This storm doesn't look like this now. So I think that's an extremely valid point. All right, so bye 2025 hurricane season, and we'll of course reconnect again about that coming in next June of 2026. The national
I cannot thank Angie and Yeti enough for spending time with me to talk about hurricane season and 2025 hurricane season and the importance of listening to your locally trusted sources on all things extreme weather, intense weather, and breaking weather. Tomorrow, Angie and I continue our conversation, and we're going to talk about the climate that we had here in Jacksonville, from a really warm summer to a very wet fall start, to nor'easters that we had, no rain that we had in the month of November, and an outlook to fall 2020, or winter rather, 2025, 2026. So you're going to want to tune in again tomorrow at 11 a.m. Now, if you want to catch what Angie was talking about there about hurricane season, again, we will be posting that on YouTube in just a little while. Meanwhile, I want to remind you about the toy drive. I brought it up just a few minutes ago that we're doing right now here at Channel 4 4 broadcast place. We're right at I-95 in Atlantic in San Marco. Come on down. We're by the Duval County Public School building. Come on down. Bring an unused toy for our toy drive. We're going to be here until 7 p.m. on all of our shows. You'll get to meet some of your favorite people throughout the day and make new friends. And we really appreciate you. If you can come on down, bring a brand new toy to our toy drive. I'm going to be out there between 1 and 3 o'clock. All right, so let's take one final look at our 7-day forecast. And just remind you, rain is on the way. Much needed rain is on the way. And it has come in the form, could start as early as this evening into tomorrow morning, Friday into Saturday morning, Saturday into Sunday morning, and hopefully not ruining your Jaguar game experience too much. But yeah, much needed rain on the way, along with colder weather, along with a cold front coming in. Tomorrow will be a little bit warmer, albeit a little bit on the wet side. All right, Caitlin, we good on time?
We're good.
All right, thank you guys so much for tuning in to our first 11 o'clock Weather Authority weekday show. I'm meteorologist Michelle McCormick. Make it a great day.
See why every day more people are choosing News4JAX, Northeast Florida and South Georgia's #1 source for local news.